do, and weren't really giving too much away about what they were going to do, so we'll have to see, which I don't blame them for, to be fair, because you don't want to let everyone know your secrets, especially when they're all listening. So yeah, we're looking forward to this very much.
And we'll wait and see whether we get a new lap record, because Jeff Smith did a 53.7 in qualifying. Race lap record set last year by Endaf Owens is a 54.2 around this circuit, and we have had a few race meetings this year where we have broken the lap records. So colours then, largely red for Jeff Smith on pole position, silver for Rupert Death alongside, all day glow for Endaf Owens on row number 2. But where is Kane Aston gone? He is in the pit lane in the grey and day glow car on the outside of the second row of the grid, so there's a gap there. And row 3 of the grid, it's white and red and grey for Andrew Jordan alongside the largely pink car of Aaron Smith. Watch out for the squabble that's going on in the Libre category as well. Leading the Libre Championship coming into this one is car number 219, which is Richard Colburn, who has qualified as the fastest of the Libre cars. So we'll have to wait and see as to whether he can keep his, well, I'd say stranglehold, his advantage of 6 points in terms of the mini Libre category. So Kane Aston is going to be a pit lane starter by the look of things. Whatever the problem was for the man from Cambridge, we'll have to wait and see. He is positioned below our commentary box and he's going to have to wait until everybody has gone by when the lights have gone out before he can get starting in the race. So a bit of frustration there for Kane, but we'll see as to how high he can work his way through in this particular race. Kane Aston, who has had already a couple of retirements so far this season, so he can't afford, or can ill afford, another poor result. So we are going to see the lights illuminated on the gantry very shortly indeed. The 5-second board goes up, and as the revs begin to rise, our mini Miglia championship race, round 11 of the 2022 championship season, supported by Mini Spares, gets underway, and Rupert Death instantly tries to cover off Jeff Smith, but Jeff Smith gets a good start from pole position. Rupert Death in second place, but to drive us right is Endaf Owens, who might just sneak through into second place here in the Dayglow car as they head round through Paddock Hill Bend. So Jeff Smith leads, it is Endaf Owens in second place, Rupert Death is there in third, Andrew Jordan going wheel to wheel with Lewis Selby, who got a really good start at the wheel of the Napa backed car and is looking to see whether he can hang on to a position as they come downhill in towards a braking area for Paddock Hill Bend, and Endaf Owens brakes so late to sneak up the inside of Jeff Smith to take up the lead of the race. The Welshman was very decisive as to what he wanted to do there.
Certainly was, so he goes into the lead of the race on this first lap. So Endaf Owens on an absolute charge as he works his way towards Surtees and McLaren. Jeff Smith thinks about coming back onto his tail through McLaren, but no way through as of yet. And Andrew Jordan hasn't quite got the job done on Lewis Selby, so he's tried a few times already on this opening lap, but he sits there in 5th position as they come up towards the line to complete lap number 1. Look out as well for Nick Padmore, now making a move on the number 21 machine of Aaron Smith.
It'd be good to see Lewis Selby have a good run because he's had a pretty torrid season. He's there in 4th place at the moment. He's got the former British Touring Car champion weaving around behind him as Rupert Death looks to try and get the overlap on Jeff Smith as they head up towards the braking area for Druids. The gap was covered off, so Rupert Death tries around the outside. Jeff Smith gets a little bit squirrely and loses one position, might lose another to Lewis Selby if he's not careful. So Endaf Owens leads the way, Rupert Death second, Jeff Smith third, Andrew Jordan sneaks through up into 4th place at the expense of Lewis Selby, who drops to 5th, and for 6th place Nick Padmore is going wheel to wheel with Aaron Smith, and I think Padmore's got the inside line, yet the historic Formula 1 champion makes it through.
Certainly does, so the local man drops down behind Nick Padmore now, so Aaron Smith into what's going to be 7th position. Slightly wide there for 2nd was Rupert Death, so the door is left open for Jeff Smith to try and squeeze his way through, which he does. So it's side by side for 2nd. Endaf Owens still leads the way across the line, but Jeff Smith has got the job done. So nicely done, not just for 2nd, but maybe for the lead as well. He thinks about a move on Endaf Owens in towards the right-hander at Paddock Hill Bend, but that wasn't quite good enough for him to get through, although he carries the speed through Paddock up towards Druids Corner. He'll now go to the outside line, but in doing so, leaves the door open almost for Rupert Death to come back.
What of the progress of Kane Aston, who started from the pit lane? Well, he is now up into 22nd position and is almost on the coattails of the next of the Miglia class cars. Leading the Libre category in the early stages is the car of Craig Cox, and there was one car that came into the pit lane at the end of that lap. I'm afraid that was car number 127, Ian Fraser.
Yeah, so job done and race possibly done for him as well. Leaders turn their way then through the right-hander of Clearways. No real challenges on this lap at the minute. So as you were with Endaf Owens your leader, 2nd place for Jeff Smith, but he gets another good run through the final corner, so he picks up the toe. But did he go for the lead of the race, or did he just sit there for a little bit longer? let's have a look as they drop down back into Paddock Hill Bend. As further back, Nick Padmore almost made a move there on Lewis Selby, who has now been passed by Andrew Jordan, and Jeff Smith does go through to a little bit of a tardy exit from Paddock Hill Bend for Endar, so he drops down to second, and Jeff Smith takes over the lead of the race.
Yeah, he just lost a tiny bit of momentum on the exit of the corner, and that was all it took for Jeff Smith to breeze past and retake the lead of the race. So Endar Owen, the Welshman, sits there now in second position. Then it's Rupert Death, former champion, there in third, still just ahead of the reigning champion, which is the number 1 car in the hands of Andrew Jordan. Then it's Lewis Selby from Nick Padmore, Aaron Smith, Scott Kendall, Colin Peacock, and Ben Colburn wraps up the top 10, or at least did at the end of the previous lap. Into the pit lane, I'm afraid, comes number 113, which is Phil Harvey, but over the start-finish line they come. Any one of 7 you want for the lead at the moment. At the head of the queue is Jeff Smith.
Certainly is. I think Scott Kendall just pulled in through the back door, so he is now outside of the top 10 and again out of the race by the look of things, so not good news for Scott in the number 78 machine. Meantime, Jeff Smith still leads the race just about by just over a tenth of a second from Endar Owen, so not much to choose as we expected between the top 7 cars at the minute. As they head downhill once more, it's Jeff Smith, Endar Owen. You've got third place still for Rupert Death, who started second on the grid. Andrew Jordan sits there in fourth place in the number 1 car. Lewis Selby next up in number 18, Nick Padmore, and now Aaron Smith towards the tail. So the local lad not doing what he suggested on the grid, but there's plenty of time still to go, and he's in the right place, really.
He is, and Aaron Smith knows how to win mini Miglia races because he's done plenty of winning over the course of his 2018, 2019 and 2020 championship seasons, when he was crowned the champion at the end of those years. But Nick Padmore is the man who's on the attack now, though. He sits there in what is 5th position, pulls out from behind the number 18 car of Lewis Selby, but that's on the outside line as Endar Owen sneaks up the inside of Jeff Smith to retake the lead of the race, only to run wide on the exit of Paddock Hill Bend. Jeff Smith returns the favour. The door is now open, and Rupert Death thinks he might have the opportunity to try and wiggle his way through, but Endar Owens braves it out around the outside at Druids, which will give him the inside line when they get towards Graham Hill Bend. He might have lost the lead, but he does not want to lose second.
Certainly doesn't, so he holds on for now ahead of Rupert Death, who then almost comes under attack there from Andrew Jordan. So one time you're looking in the front of your screen, the other time you're looking in the rear, because you never know who's going to pop up next. And at the minute, it is the pressure coming from behind from Andrew Jordan as Nick Padmore goes for a move, or tries to, on Lewis Selby. He kicks up a little bit of the dust on the inside of the corner. That then delays him through Clearways and Clark Curve and brings a little bit closer now Aaron Smith. So he's onto the tail as Nick Padmore just loses a little bit of ground to Lewis Selby, but I'm sure he'll claw that back as quick as possible. As a little bit wiggly in towards Paddock Hill Bend, there goes Jeff Smith, but Endar Owens wasn't quite close enough to retaliate.
I'm just keeping an eye on what's going on in the pack behind, with Colin Peacock, Ashley Davies, Mark Sims and Ben Colburn all together, those next 4 cars after the lead 7. And actually Ben Colburn has just posted the fastest lap of the race at 54.460 from him, 54.460 for Ben Colburn. So that's about 2/10 shy of the race lap record that we've got here for the Mini Miglia category. So Jeff Smith leading the way at the wheel of the number 46 car, the Dayglow machine in the hands of the Welshman. Endar Owens sitting there in second position. He's going to get the tow as they come onto the start-finish straight. He might be 4 or 5 mini lengths behind when they pass the MSV building. By the time they get towards Paddock Hill Bend, that is going to be a very different story, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think that could be the case. So here they come once more. Endar Owens under attack now from Rupert Death, who goes to the outside line, but again not really alongside to make the move there. So as you were for the top 7, keep an eye on what's happening with Colin Peacock, because they still can't really bring that gap down to the 7 ahead of them, so they're having their own little squabble within this race at the minute, but all of that is just delaying them from catching up with the top 7, where we almost saw another change there, because Endar Owens was wide through Druid's corner, so Rupert Death almost had a chance to go through, but not on that occasion, and doing so Rupert Death now is slow on the exit of Graham Hill Bend, and Andrew Jordan gets a little bit closer as well, but they all frighten us, don't they? But they're sitting there waiting and maybe going to lunge at some point on this lap, but yeah, they just kind of sit there as they were.
So we've still got, what, 12 and a half minutes just over of the race still to go, so we're not even at 40% of the race so far. So over the start-finish line comes Jeff Smith, 3 times a Mini 7 champion, stepping up to the Miglias for this year and has been doing a good job since he arrived on the Miglia grid at the beginning of the season. Endaf Owens, Rupert Death, Andrew Jordan, it's sort of 4 for the lead really now, with Lewis Selby just having been dropped a little bit, and also falling away over the course of that lap was the car of Nick Padmore, number 56, the car that's largely white but has got those blue and lighter green flashes down the side of it, and the pink machine in the hands of 3 times champion Aaron Smith. So that little train of cars heading onto the Cooper Straight. Endaf Owens looking as though he is rather keen to either try and take up the lead of the race, or is just trying to push with Jeff Smith to try and break the tail of the cars behind. Not quite sure which one of the two it is.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? If he ducks out and goes for a move on the race leader, then it's for a lead change. But I think you're right, he might be trying to push away Jeff Smith, so they've got a little bit of a break. Then they can have a squabble amongst themselves towards the end of this race. But in doing so, it's actually delayed them once again. And Rupert Death now has picked up the toe. So third place man back into the attack. Endaf Owens goes to the inside of Paddock Hill Bend, and this will be for the change of the race lead once more. So Endaf Owens didn't want to push Jeff Smith anymore. He goes back to the lead of the race. Jeff Smith tries to get to the inside up towards Druid, which he almost does. He feinted to the outside, then back to the inside, but didn't quite work there. So first and second swap around. Rupert Death is still third. Fourth place Andrew Jordan, Selby, Nick Padmore, and then Aaron Smith towards the tail in 7th place. So they continue on their way. And just a quick progress on Kane Aston. I think he's up into the top 15 now.
Yeah, good result from Kane Aston. They've got Peter Harries' car to deal with as well, have these front runners. Peter moves neatly out of the way and allows Endaf Owens to go through. That very quickly answered my question, didn't it? Is he working with Jeff Smith, or does he want to go by? Yeah, absolutely. There was no way he was going to work with him. Endaf Owens is very much in the self-preservation society, isn't he? He wants to try and claim the win if he can on one of his few outings that he's having over the course of the 2022 championship season. So it is the Dayglow car in the hands of the Welshman that leads the way. Former British touring car star Jeff Smith in 2nd place. 2 times former champion Rupert Death there in 3rd place. Former British touring car champion and, of course, the reigning champion in Miglia's Andrew Jordan sitting there in 4th position. 3 times back-to-back champion Aaron Smith has managed to work his way through into 5th position now. Nick Padmore is 6th. And Lewis Selby's dropping away, isn't he? So I don't think all is quite well with Lewis Selby's number 18 car. It's been a pretty torrid season for him as he's moved up from the 7s to the Miglia class.
Yeah, it seems to be an alien mini now, doesn't it? So he's dropped right back into the clutches of the next car, which I believe is still, Colin Peacock. So Colin's there in 8th position. And I think Colin's just about to get his way through as Lewis Selby heads for the pit lanes for another retirement from one of our front runners, which is a real shame for the Napa back car, as Rupert Death now tries for the outside line on Jeff Smith down towards the first corner of Paddock Hill Bend, and that might, I thought it was going to work there, but not quite. So Jeff Smith keeps himself on the inside line, keeps Rupert Death at bay, and now tries to catch up with the man ahead of him, Endaf Owens, who has only done 2 previous races so far this year, and in those races he's won one of them already, so he's got some good pedigree as Endaf.
Yeah, he's been knocking around mini racing for a very good number of years, all the way back to his grass tracking days, and of course now through his company Owens Fabrications. The Welsh Wizard, as he's known, is building brand new cars in reality, whether it be to Miglia spec, 7 spec, FIA historic spec as well. He's a very busy man indeed. Another retirement, I'm afraid. 179 Andrew Dickinson, the back entrance to the Grand Prix paddock. He has withdrawn his blue and orange machine as Endaf Owens heads over the start finish line. This is to complete lap number 12. We're past the halfway point of this race now, so we've got 9 minutes to go as Jeff Smith jinks one way, jinks the other. Oh, that's going to get ties up towards Paddock Hill Bend. They were absolutely on the ragged edge there, the pair of them, and they all come out in exactly the same order.
If that would have worked, that would have been very impressive, wouldn't it, for Jeff Smith to keep that car under control. And now Andrew Jordan goes for a move around the outside in towards Druid as a almost spinner at Paddock.
Kane asked him.
He recovered it and he continues. I think he lost 2 places, didn't he, in the process, but he's still in the race after pushing so hard in that car at the minute. Further forward, we should say, back to the front runners. Nick Padmore now trying to get back past Aaron Smith, which he does. So Nick Padmore to 5th, and then just up the road, Andrew Jordan has now confirmed himself in that new 3rd place.
Birthday boy Endaf Owens leading the way at this stage. He didn't mention to you, did he, when he was down there on the pits? But yeah, I reckon it's Endaf's birthday today, and a good birthday present would be a win. But Jeff Smith has got other ideas about that. He doesn't want to join in on the Endaf Owens party. He wants to spoil it and see if he can sneak through to grab a win. It's Andrew Jordan that is now in 3rd position. Rupert Death down to 4th. Up to 5th comes Nick Padmore. Down to 6th is Aaron Smith, so it's sort of 6 for the lead of the race. We did have 7, but of course Lewis Selby, we know, has retired, but they've all got themselves back together again for the squabble. What's going on in Libre? Because I'm well aware we've not mentioned it much because it's been so tight at the front. Car number 219, the championship leader, Richard Colburn, leads the Libre category down in 18th position overall.
Klaxon goes again, this time for Kane Astin, so he has pushed a little bit too much, I think, and has decided to end the race with not too much further progress to be made in this race. So Kane Astin is done. Also watch out for the battle for 7th place as well, because that is fantastic. Ashley Davies, who was up from what was 18th on the grid, has just got past Colin Peacock for 7th place, although they're now going to be side by side across the line, so watch out for that one. Being joined by Ben Colburn as well as side by side for the lead. They almost went there for Jeff Smith, trying to get back past Hendaf Owens.
They're almost 3 wide, aren't they, for that position in towards Paddock Hill. Ben, something's got to give, and I think it was Ben Colburn decided that, yeah, probably not quite worth it. The gap was starting to close up, so yeah, the red car of Colin Peacock ahead of the Welshman of Ashley Davies, who, yeah, was a little bit out of position, wasn't he, on the grid, because he didn't do that many qualifying laps, I'm afraid to say, before the problems ensued and dropped him into retirement, really, in qualifying yesterday. So Hendaf Owens still leading the way. How much time has he got to try and hang on to this position? Well, it's 6.5 minutes. There's a stationary car on the Cooper Straight that's going to remain there for the rest of the race. Now, that's the area of the circuit, Matt, that neither of us can see, so no idea who that is or whereabouts they are on the Cooper Straight.
No, we imagine it's somewhere on the edge of the circuit, possibly. We have the yellow flags there briefly on the left-hander at Graham Hill Bend, so they'll now all be aware of that as they head very shortly, the leaders, down to that part of the circuit with Hendaf Owens still trying to defend from the likes of Jeff Smith. Andrew Jordan just giving himself a little bit of buffer now, just to keep a bit of distance between him and the top two, so that very quickly comes down into the braking zone in towards Druids Corner, but Hendaf Owens, this is probably going to be the longest 6 minutes of his life.
Absolutely. All the drivers you were chatting to did say they thought this was going to be a brilliant race. Well, yeah, it's lived up to the billing, hasn't it? Because there has been a continual squabble, and even now there's a good fight. We go side by side almost for what would be 5th and 6th position, because Aaron Smith was looking to try and sneak past Nick Padmore, which he had been able to do. So we've got 5 and a bit minutes of the race still to go. Jeff Smith looking to try and get the overlap on Hendaf Owens this time as they head onto the Brabham Straight. The door is open. He draws himself alongside the Welshman, and now he's getting the bump draft and the push from Andrew Jordan. So Jeff Smith picks up the lead of the race. Andrew Jordan's there in 2nd place. Hendaf Owens, who was leading, is down into 3rd ahead of Rupert Death, Aaron Smith and Nick Padmore. You could throw a blanket over all of them, and we've still got, what, another 5, maybe 6 laps of this to come.
Yeah, certainly. This is some skill that these drivers are showing. Absolutely inch perfect, as running wide there Andrew Jordan, who just got up into 2nd place on the exit of Druids Corner. He now gets passed by none other than Aaron Smith, who was quite a way down towards the beginning of the race, and Rupert Death, unfortunately, is a little bit slow towards the tail of that group. Yeah,
he ran very, very wide coming out of Druids, and that was what dropped him down towards the tail end of the field. He's now got to try and clean up those control Dunlop slick tyres that all of these Miglia cars run on, and that has just dropped him away and made it 5 for the lead of the race. So Jeff Smith is leading. There's traffic just up the road, which I think is number 92 Richard Bartlett's car, that they're going to have to want to try and squeeze their way through and past, and he could come into play during this lap as Andrew Jordan dives for a move up the inside of Aaron Smith. The door is closed, he's not going to go through. Hendaf Owens runs wide coming out of Paddock Hill Bend. The door is open. Jeff Smith retakes the lead of the race. Aaron Smith up into 2nd place, Andrew Jordan up into 3rd, and Hendaf Owens, with that slight mistake at Paddock Hill Bend, all of a sudden from the lead is down into 4th and possibly 5th, because he's now running wheel to wheel with Nick Padmore.
And there's a bit of traffic to deal with as well, which hopefully will stay out of the way, which it just about does for the top 3. Oh, and Hendaf Owens makes contact with the back of it and spins round at Graham Hill Bend, so they kind of fanned out behind the back of the traffic there, and Hendaf Owens unfortunately just clipped the right rear of that car.
Yeah, he just was in the wrong place at the wrong time, wasn't he? Richard Bartlett couldn't disappear, but he maybe should have blended out the throttle before he got to Graham Hill Bend and let them go through, so it all just got tightened up on the exit of the corner. So Hendaf Owens, I think, yeah, out of the car and instantly into retirement. So over the start-finish line now go Jeff Smith leading the way from Aaron Smith in 2nd place, and then it is the car of Andrew Jordan in 3rd. Nick Padmore, who we don't see huge amounts of in this series, but he's always a front runner, is there in 4th place, and Rupert Death, who'd lost ground to them all, having run round on the grass on the outside of Druids a few laps ago, is back there again, squabbling away.
Certainly is. Nick Padmore just made a bit of a mistake there, got right to the back of Andrew Jordan, so he was delayed on the exit of the corner, so back into the clutches of Rupert Death. But this battle we have out front, now down to 5 cars after the demise, unfortunately, of Endarth Owens, but Jeff Smith still leads for the time being as they turn their way through clearways and on towards Clark Curve. Second place at the minute then for the car of Aaron Smith. So we did say watch out for him. He was just on the tail of that group in the early stages, but bit by bit he's made his way towards the head of the field. So he's there in second, and Andrew Jordan for now just about sits on the podium.
Yeah, so not going to be a really happy birthday, is it, for Endarth Owens with that retirement? 45 years of age today. Happy birthday, Andy. Endarth, surprised he's 45. Matt looks a lot older. Up towards the braking area for Druids goes Jeff Smith, still in the lead of the race. It is Aaron Smith sitting right on his coattails there in second place. Andrew Jordan, Nick Padmore, Rupert Death all together as they head downhill. They're going to put a further lap on Peter Harries before too much longer at the wheel of car number 117. His car running in the Libre class. Now, how long have we got to go? We've got 2 laps to go. So when they come over the start-finish line this time through, they will be onto their penultimate lap.
Yeah, quite a bit of traffic to deal with before there, so probably 4 or 5 cars which will go a lap down. So hopefully all of the front runners will find them in the best place possible as Jeff Smith now starts to come under pressure from behind with Aaron Smith. So the tow is starting to be given to him. Andrew Jordan is right there with them as well. Nick Padmore and Rupert Death just about closing that gap down now as they all go through the traffic in towards Paddock Hill Bend. And who is going to make the next of our moves? Well, as it stands, it's just less than 0.3 of a second that cover the top 3 places.
And look at the fight that's going on behind as well, because you've still got Ashley Davies fighting away with Ben Colburn and trying to join in on the fun as well. It's the green car with its white flashes down the side of Mark Sims, which sort of begs the question as to what happened to Colin Peacock, and the answer is that he went missing a few laps ago as well at the wheel of the number 14 car, so he's had a problem as well. So we are into the last 60 seconds of this race. It's taking about 55 seconds to do a lap, so they will be going on to their last lap of the race this time through. All bets are off now, Matt, aren't they?
Yes, they are indeed. Jeff Smith out front is the man that leads so far, has pretty much led most of this race as well. So he's going to try and look for his second win of the year. The man behind him at the minute, Aaron Smith, who sits just up the road in the championship, also now looking for his second win of the year as well. But which one can it be as they tuck the way down towards Paddock Hill Bend for what's going to be now the last lap of the race? 30 seconds left on the clock, and they are just about going to catch the traffic on this last lap. Yeah, they are. This could make it very, very interesting. Could be the catalyst for change, catching that little bit of traffic towards the tail end of this race. However, well and truly aware of what was going on was the back marker, moving totally out of harm's way so as to not compromise the race leaders as they head onto the Cooper Straight for the final time. Jeff Smith is still leading the way. The charge to the line and the slipstream might decide who is going to come out on top in round 11 of the 2022 Dunlop Mini Miglia Challenge, supported by Mini Spares. And as they head past the MSV building, Jeff Smith is getting the push from Aaron Smith. Andrew Jordan is going to try and get the double toe. They fan out, do they, on the way to the checkered flag? No, they don't. They sit behind each other on the way to the checkered flag. So Jeff Smith claims the win, his second of the season. Aaron Smith finishes in second place. Andrew Jordan completes the podium. Fantastic stuff. What a way to end that one then for the Mini Miglia Championship. Unfortunately, we lost a few along the way, but the fight right towards the front kept us very much on our toes. So behind the top 3, 4th place for number 56, which was Nick Padmore. 5th place, number 23, that of Rupert Death. 6th place then for number 87. A great drive there from Ashley Davies to get himself from 18th on the grid up to 6th. 7th place for number 55 was Ben Colburn. 8th place then for number 20 was the car of Mark Sims, just ahead of number 48. In 9th place, Phil Bullen Brown, and for 10th it was number 89 in the end who came through inside the order of Sean King to get himself inside that top 10 as well. So fantastic stuff from the Miglias. In terms of the Libres, just to update you on that one, it was a win for the 219 machine of Richard Colburn. So the man who started from pole position came through in first place. Second place for 133, which was Les Stanton from a little bit lower down on the grid. And for third place, it went away with number 117, which was Peter Harries. So well done to all of those who got themselves onto the Libre podium. But the Miglias, once again, providing plenty of action towards the front. It was Jeff Smith, first win for him since the previous one he got, because that came at Cadwell Park back in May in race number 2. So second win for Jeff Smith. Aaron Smith gets himself on the podium, and that's quite good actually for his championship. He also finishes ahead of one of his nearest rivals, that being Rupert Death, who lead the championship coming here this weekend. So that will put them very much closer, if not a bit of a leapfrog there for Aaron Smith. But we'll see how that shapes out for the second race. In terms of the fastest lap, that went the way of Nick Padmore. So the man, as Mark said, we don't really see in the championship much, but there's a lot of classic mini racing. Nick came through in 4th place to get the quickest lap of a 54.324. So cracking stuff there from him, and we'll see what he can muster up in the second race a little bit later on. In fact, that race will be the last race of the whole mini festival weekend, so do not miss it. Stay with us right towards the end, because it's been a highlight of the day so far. So well done to all of those in the Miglias. We've got Mark Burrell now on his way downstairs. He'll grab a word with the top 3 and potentially, I think, a top 3 podium for the Libres as well. So we've got all that coming up very shortly. There's a few cars which have littered the circuit as well, so that will need to be cleared up. In fact, most of them got themselves back to the pit lane, so apart from